Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, some big topics of the day here. So we got the TV contract, we got the charter system, we got penalties, some of the big news that came out today. We're going to start with the TV contract. So currently the contract is 10 years, $8.2 billion. That was up 30% from the previous contract. Now, the way that breaks out, Fox, 16 races a year. They get the Clash, the All-Star race, and they pay 3.8 of that $1 billion. So that comes out to be 21.11 million per race. NBC gets the last 10 regular season races and the 10 playoff races. Their piece is $4.4 billion, $22 million per race. The current breakdown is 65% to the tracks, 25% to the teams, and 10% to NASCAR. I guess the teams had a meeting today with NASCAR and they boycotted the meeting over those percentages. There are currently 18 tracks that are owned by NASCAR, so that's 65% of that $8.2 billion that goes to the tracks. 18 races, 12 of those tracks are owned by NASCAR, or 11 active tracks. Auto Club, Darlington, Daytona, Homestead, Kansas, Martinsville, Michigan, Phoenix, Richmond, Talladega, Watkins, Glen, and Chicagoland. So what I feel would be a compromise. I don't know if we're going to get 30%. I know some of the TV deals have been outrageous. If we were to get 25% more for the contracts. So with the new schedule idea that I have, 41 races, 30 regular season races, 11 playoff races. The way the playoffs will work out, the same as we have now, we have a round of 16, the round of 12, the round of 8. Now, when we get to the championship 4, 2 races. The championship 4 is going to be 2 races. So we have 4 drivers running for a championship. So we do race 1. Whoever of those 4 championship drivers finish the highest in each stage gets 4 points, 3, 2, and 1. Of those 4 drivers, whoever finishes the highest in the race gets 10 points, 9, 8, 7. We do this for the 2 races. Whoever has the most points in those 2 races is your champion. I also feel that I know a lot of people don't like stage racing. I have an idea for that. Stage racing, to me, as a legacy fan, as we've been calling them on XM Satellite Radio, been a fan since 1986. I like stage racing because before we had a 3-4 hour race, you take a 2.5 hour nap, you wake up at the end, you're good to go. So we can modify the stages. So the first 2 stages would be 75% of the race, and then the third stage would be the rest. For example, Daytona, it's 200 laps. You would have a stage of 75, 75, and 50. So now you're going to have to pit on stage 1 and have to pit in stage 2. Now, like a Coda, for instance, the 3 stages would have been, with my math, 16, 15, and 10. When it comes to the TV contract, with 41 races, so we could break it down like this. I know ESPN has been interested in getting back into NASCAR. So we could do 16 races for Fox at $25.2 million race, which is 25% increase. 21 races on NBC, they get the extra playoff race. $27.5 million a race, which is 25% increase. The 4 Wednesday night races. Oh, did I forget to mention? With 41 races, we have 4 Wednesday night races. $25 million apiece for ESPN if they chose to do it. Those 4 Wednesday night races, based on the schedule that I have here: Rockingham, Richmond, Nashville Fairgrounds, IRP, which is Lucas Oil Raceway, the half-mile short track there in Indianapolis. Now, that massive 41 race schedule, it actually fits into almost the same footprint we have now. We go 1 extra week in November, But we get a 2-week break in the June, 1st of July. A couple of years ago, we had a 2-week break for the Olympics. And you see all these pictures of drivers and teams, etc., on vacation with their families. Kids are out of school, they go on vacation. They can't do that in 1 week off. We give them a 2-week break, but we take one of the weeks from November. So the schedule, the aggressive schedule that I have here, would be starting at the Coliseum on the first weekend in February. We do the LA Coliseum Busch Light Clash. We can put that Busch Light Clash that week anywhere. We can build LA Coliseum. We can do it at the Bull Ring in Las Vegas. We can do it at Five Flags Speedway in Florida. Anywhere we want. The first points race would be the following week, the weekend of the Super Bowl, in the city where the Super Bowl is. For example, this coming year, the Super Bowl is in Las Vegas. Why not first race of the year, the Saturday before the Super Bowl, in that city, in Las Vegas? Now, next year, the Super Bowl, in 25, the Super Bowl is in New Orleans. There is a road course in New Orleans area. So it may not be perfect in the same town, but we could always do close. If we do Texas or something, somewhere close. Kick off the season on the same weekend, the Saturday before. So you have fans in town for the Super Bowl. They may come over to Vegas for the first race. So we start, in my schedule, we start at the Coliseum for the Clash. Then the following Saturday, we go to Las Vegas for the first race. The following week, we go to Phoenix for the second race. Then we go to Daytona. So Daytona 500 is the third race of the year. And yes, that has happened before where Daytona was not the kickoff of the year. The season used to begin in January at Riverside. And then it would sometimes go to Ontario and then Daytona. And then we have a Saturday race at Atlanta. We do our first Wednesday night race at Rockingham. The following Sunday, we go to Bristol Dirt. Then we go to Coda. Then we go to the following Saturday, we go to Martinsville. The following Wednesday, we go to Richmond. The following Sunday, we go to Darlington. And then we have a West Coast swing of 2 races. We don't currently have a track in Southern California. So we go to Sonoma. And then on the weekend of April 14th, we go to the streets of Long Beach. I know, people are like, we don't want street racing. We hate this. They don't want us. Here's the thing. Chicago doesn't want us. NASCAR. The streets of Long Beach, they already have an IndyCar race and an IMSA race. By the way, IMSA is owned by NASCAR. I think we can squeeze right in there, the streets of Long Beach. And then we go, the following Saturday, we go to Nashville. And then on Wednesday night, while we're in Nashville, we drop over to the fairgrounds. And then on Sunday, we go to Kentucky Speedway. And then we go to Mid-Ohio. Now, this is the fun one. This is the one I'm looking forward to. In the middle of April, or middle of May 11th to be exact. That is a race, IndyCar race in Indianapolis on the road course. We do a doubleheader with them. So we get with Roger Penske and the IndyCar folks, and we do a doubleheader. NASCAR and IndyCar on the road course in Indianapolis. That's on Saturday. So we run Saturday, they run Sunday. On Wednesday, we go to the little short track in Indianapolis, IRP in Indianapolis Raceway Park, have a cup race. The following Sunday, so this is pole weekend for Indy 500, on Saturday, or Sunday, either or, we run the Brickyard. Then the following weekend, we go to the Coke 600. So we would be in Indianapolis on IndyCar pole weekend. That's one of the problems we've had with drivers running the double on Memorial Day. Is NASCAR's always somewhere on that weekend where the drivers have a hard time getting away to get to Indianapolis. We just solved that problem. We'll be in Indianapolis. And then after the Coke 600 on Memorial Day, that does not change. We go to Iowa, Kansas, Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis. Then we have an All-Star race, June 23rd. Now, that All-Star race can be wherever we want it to be, any track, pick a track. It can be one of the tracks we don't race at, like a Five Flag Speedway, or like a New Smyrna, or it could be at, Chicagoland. It can be at, just name a track. We do it a year in advance, so we kind of pimp it for a year. Then we have a 2-week break, so the drivers can relax, spend time with their family, go on vacation. We're still racing during that 2 weeks because we're going to have Xfinity Series and Truck Series 1 week at Autodrome Monterrey in Mexico with the Mexico Pinty Series, the NASCAR Mexican Series. We do a triple header at Autodrome Monterrey with the NASCAR Mexico Series, Xfinity and Truck. The following week, we do a triple header, Canadian Tire and Motorsports Park with the NASCAR Penalties Series, Truck and Xfinity. Then we go to the Chicago Street Course. Now, we know there's some issues in Chicago right now. They don't want NASCAR. So then we pull that out, insert Brooklyn Street Course. We can insert whatever there. Then we go to Dover, Watkins, Glen, Pocono, Michigan, Road America, and we end the regular season, race number 30 at Daytona. Then our playoffs. First round, Darlington, New Hampshire, and Bristol. We eliminate 4. We go to Homestead, North Wilkesboro, and the Roval. We eliminate 4. We go to Texas, Talladega, Martinsville. We eliminate 4. We have 4 championship 4 at Phoenix and at Las Vegas. So we begin the season, Las Vegas and Phoenix. We end the season, Phoenix and Las Vegas. Now, the Xfinity Series, since we went to 41 on the Cup, we're doing 35 on Xfinity and 25 on the Truck Series. Now, when it comes to charters, currently the charter agreement ends in 2024. Now, we've had a couple different point of views here. The charter agreement, this is actually an update this was said by Steve Phelps. It says the charter agreement is delivering stability and long-term value to existing team owners while providing a clear path for ownership in the NASCAR Cup Series, said Steve Phelps, NASCAR president. We are pleased to have reached an agreement with team owners that extends the length of the charter system through 2024. A healthy ownership structure ensures strong competitive racing for our fans, which is a goal the industry collective shares. Now, today this came out. Though teams in NASCAR have reached a point of relative satisfaction over the new revenue sharing model, the charter system model remains a sticking point when NASCAR chairman Jim France said to be dead set against making it permanent. So currently the 36 charters guarantees you a spot in all NASCAR races. We have a max field of 40. Each team can only have a max of 4 cars. These charters currently are going for $20 to $30 million each. The initial 36 charters were issued by NASCAR to the teams that had showed a long-standing agreement or long-standing with NASCAR. They ran 3 consecutive years every single race. You can sell a charter, you can lease a charter, you can sell teams with charters, etc. We've had it all happen. What I think they should do is have the 36 charters still. Have still each team said we're going to go with Joe Gibbs Racing, 4 charters. The max you can own is 4 charters. Now, if you want a 5th car, you can have it. No more than 5. So a Hendrick Motorsports, a Joe Gibbs, Stuart Haas, there are 4 chartered cars. They can have 1 more non-charter car that can run the full season. We expand this field from 40 to 43 cars. So we can have no more than 43 cars in a race. So say for Daytona, for instance, if we go to Daytona, we're going to pull up the list of teams right now. So we have our 36 charters. We have the open cars. So my model, Hendrick Motorsports, could have an extra car. Let's see here. Stuart Haas could have an extra car. And Joe Gibbs could have an extra car. That's 4. So our current model, we have 4 open teams. Last year we had 2 people go home. So we had 42. If each of those 4-car teams could have a 5th car and run it full time, if they have sponsors and drivers and teams, yes, they have to qualify for a race if there's more than 43 people there, but otherwise they're in the field. I think number one, that's going to bring more sponsors. It's going to bring more competitive cars. You have 5 Hendrick cars, 5 Joe Gibbs cars, 5 Stuart Haas cars out there. Those extra cars, 3 to 4 cars, are going to be competitive cars. It's not like a low market team like, say, Live Fast Motorsports. It's not like they're putting 2 or 3 back marker teams out there. These teams are going to put big time teams out there. They can run for wins, etc. That way you have more revenue from sponsors for those teams. You have more ability to win races and etc. I like the charter agreement that way when a team such as Raceway Racing, when say Rick decides to get out of NASCAR, what's he have? Outdated parts, tools. It's not worth a lot. He has charters, those are worth $20, $30 million. So somebody like a Rick Ware, who's put his life savings into a NASCAR team, now has something viable to sell. When Junie Donlevy, when Alan Kowicki, when these teams went under for different reasons, there was really nothing to sell. You got pennies on the dollar for what was there. The shop, yeah, the buildings were something, but not what you put into it. But with the charters, you get that. Now, when it comes to penalties, we know today we had some major penalties changed. So 8 days ago, Hendrick Motorsports went in front of the appeals committee. They were issued a $100,000 fine per team, 4-week suspension per crew chief, and 100 regular season driver points, 100 owner points, and 10 playoff points for modification of a single source part. They go to the appeals committee, which is independent of NASCAR. This is a committee of 20 people that they randomly select 3 for the committee. You don't have to have 100%. You just got to get 2/3 on your side. NASCAR presents their case, just like the court of law, just like the prosecution would. The defense, which would be in this case Hendrick Motorsports, presents their case. These 3 panel, which was Kelly Hensley, Bill Lester, Dixon Johnson, they took what NASCAR said, took what Hendrick Motorsports said. They had to come to an agreement. The agreement was, we keep the fines, we keep the suspension, we give back the points. Now, they said they modified the louvers. Okay, we get it. Colic Racing on the 31 car for Justin Haley got the louver taken away and got the same penalty. Colic Racing went in front of the board with NASCAR. This time the board was Hunter Nickel, Shauna Robinson, and Steve York. They said, fine, the $100,000 fine stays. The 4-week suspension for the crew chief stays. We're going to change the points from 100 to 75, but we're also still taking the 10 playoff points. A lot of people have tried to figure out this isn't fair. This isn't fair. Now, we don't know the particular details of what was changed and what wasn't. I've seen some comments on social media where people say NASCAR needs to be transparent. We need transparency. We need to know what was changed. No, we don't need to know what they did. It's none of our business. We want to know. Yeah, we're curious. We're natural curious people. Matter of fact, let's see if I can find the exact comment in my tweet. I see what I'm going here and do it. Yeah, I actually responded to, let's see here, replies. Alright, so the tweet was there are so many different variables, different panel, different team, parts taken at different times, and more that could have determined why the penalty for colic wasn't the same as one given at HMS. Regardless, we deserve more transparency. My response to this was, do we deserve transparency or want it? Those are very different things. We are not entitled to transparency. Yes, I would like to know more details, but I can form an opinion based on what we already know. And I just went on to say we're doing this video about it. Now, do I want to know exactly what the difference was? Yes, I do. I'm curious. But I don't necessarily have to know. But it would be nice to know. But here's how I look at it. NASCAR has been consistent. If you modify a single source part, here's the penalty. Kevin Harvick got it last year. Brad Keselowski got it last year. Michael McDowell got a penalty last year. Petty GMS got a penalty last year for modifying. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch got DQ'd because they had done something wrong. There was tape under the wrap. That was wrong. The committee changed it. Now, what can NASCAR do about this? I don't think they have anything to do, to be honest with you, my opinion, because if you think about a court of law, I commit a crime. Insert crime here. I go to court. I'm not guilty of the crime. I go to trial. I say blah, 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 blah. Now, I can either be charged with that crime, I can be charged with a lesser crime, or I can be charged or not charged or found not guilty. I know it's all the way to the end, but we'll do murder. There's first degree murder, there's second degree murder, there's manslaughter, there's something else too. I mean, there's multiple different versions of the same crime. The crime is I killed somebody. First degree murder, second degree murder, manslaughter, justifiable homicide. It can be changed as they see fit, as the court sees fit, the jury, the judge. I think in this case, it's the same way. Now, NASCAR can write the rule where it says the penalty, instead of like now, it says between 75 and 200 points for L2 penalty. An L2 penalty is $200,000, 100 points. Let's just go with that. You don't give them a gray area. You say black or white. Now, can NASCAR go to the National Motorsports Committee and say, okay, when they appeal these penalties, it's either all or nothing? Yeah, they could do that if they wanted. Right now, it's either they keep the penalty, they get rid of the penalty, or they change the penalty. I don't think NASCAR needs to do anything different. I think fans need to realize we don't necessarily, we're not entitled to transparency, but it would be nice. Now, I understand why they can't do it, because if you tell us, okay, Hendrick Motorsports did X, Y, and Z. Well, Colic Racing did STW, or whatever the case is. Now that tells another team, so if I do X, Y, and Z, it's only $100,000 penalty. But if I do this, I get the points too. Hey, boss man, I want to do this, this, and this. It's going to help us here and here and here. You go with the penalty if we get caught? You go with fine? We got $100,000 in the bank? Sweet, let's do it. So you don't want to give people ideas how to cheat. So, all right. So those are my opinions on the penalty situation that we currently have, my opinion on the TV contract, on how the money should be divided up, and my aggressive schedule for the new season, 41 races. As always, thanks for watching the Rubber Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Rubber Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.